We continue now at the top of Daf Tzadi Aleph in Meseches Gitin. This is Gittin Daf 90a. The Gemara concludes the previous discussion. V'hilchasa muteres l'shneim. The halach is in a situation where a rumor goes out that a woman had kiddushin with one individual, and then a rumor goes out that she had kiddushin with a second individual. Since it's just rumors regarding both of them, she is muteres l'shneim. She can marry either one of them. Rashi explains muteres l'shneim kalamar af megari sheni v'nosei rishon. If she wants, she can even divorce from the second one and marry the first one. That's not a problem. We're not concerned that people will think it's a situation of machzir grushaso. The afilu Rav Huna modebaha, even Rav Huna would admit in this case where it's just rumors by both of them, he would admit that we can be lenient. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah. Beis Shammai Omrim Beis Shammai say, Lo yegaresh adam es ishto ela im kein matza bo dvar erva. A person cannot divorce his wife unless he finds something within the marriage that was arayas, that was related to erva. Shenemar, like it says, ki matza bo ervas davar. It says in the pasuk, ki matza bo ervas davar, indicating there has to be some kind of erva for a man to divorce his wife. Beis Hillel Omrim Beis Hillel say, afilu hikdicha tavshilu, even if she burnt what she was cooking for him. Rashi says, hikdicha sarfo al yedei or shakoran ardrushir or b'melach, or there was too much salt, either too much fire, too much salt. K'mo kiyesh kadcha bi'api, even if she ruined his meal, that's enough grounds for divorce. Shenemar, like it says, ki matza bo ervas davar. It says in the pasuk, ki matza bo ervas davar. And Rashi explains, ervas davar lebeis Hillel mashmu lahu o erva o shar dvar sirchon. Even though it uses the word ervas davar, it's mashma anything. It could be erva, it could be some other kind of thing that it upsets the marriage. That would be sufficient according to Beis Hillel. Rabbi Akiva says, afilu motza acheres noah heimena, even if he finds somebody else who's more beautiful than her, shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, v'haya im lo simsa chen be'enav, it will be, if she doesn't find favor in his eyes, even that is considered enough grounds for divorce. And Rashi explains, Rabbi Akiva Omer, afilu lo matzah bo lo erva v'lo davar. Even if he doesn't find erva, he doesn't find some other thing, he doesn't find any issue, even if he just finds another woman to be his wife, that is enough of a reason. And the Gemara says, Tanya, we learned in a brayso, Amru Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel say to Beis Shammai, V'alo kvar nemar davar, doesn't it say in the pasuk davar that implies that there can be other grounds for divorce besides for arayis? Amru lahem Beis Shammai respond to Beis Hillel, V'alo kvar nemar ervas. But doesn't the pasuk say ervas? According to you, it could just say davar, because anything could be grounds for divorce. Why does it say ervas? Amru lahem Beis Hillel, so Beis Hillel say to Beis Shammai, Im nemar ervas v'lo nemar davar. If it said ervas without davar, hayisi omer misham erva teitze misham davar lo teitze. I would have thought only arayis is grounds for divorce and not anything else. L'kach nemar davar. That's why it says davar. V'ilu nemar davar v'lo nemar ervas. Whereas let's say it only said davar and not ervas. And that would make sense according to Beis Hillel, because anything is grounds for divorce. Why does it need to say ervas? But if it said davar without ervas, hayisi omer misham davar tinase la'achra, I might have thought that if she's divorced for some other reason, she's allowed to marry someone else. Umisham erva lo tinase la'achra, I might have thought that if she's divorced because of arayis, so maybe she's not allowed to marry anyone else. She can't be with any other man. L'kach nemar ervas. That's why it says ervas. That's why we need both ervas and davar according to Beis Hillel. Ubeis Shammai. Now, according to Beis Shammai, hay davar my avdile. What do they do with the word davar? It should just be ervas, because that's the only reason, that's the only grounds for divorce. And to that, Beis Shammai say, nemar kan davar v'nemar lahalon davar. It says over here davar, and it says further on davar. It says al pishnei edim or al pishlosha edim yakum davar. It says you have to have 2 or 3 witnesses for something to be established. Malahalon bishnei edim, just like over there it's with 2 witnesses. Afkan bishnei edim. So too over here, you have to have 2 witnesses. And Rashi explains afkan be'edim berurim. Also over here, it's only if you have witnesses. Einon neseres olav mishum erva. The point is, she's not going to be prohibited to him because of arayis. Ela be'edus brura, unless you have real witnesses. That's what we learn out from the word davar, according to Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel and Beis Hillel respond to Beis Shammai, miksiv erva bidavar. It doesn't say over here erva bidavar. That would imply that we're talking about witnesses. And Rashi says, Beis Hillel do al karchenu haydavar mafkisu le le'edas k'dim mefarish le v'azal. As we're going to see in a moment, Beis Hillel agree that the word davar does have something to do with witnesses. But the point of Beis Hillel is, it doesn't say erva bidavar that's the only thing we're referring to over here. Beis Shammai and Beis Shammai respond to Beis Hillel, miksiv o erva o davar. According to you, does it say or arayis or another issue? That would imply, like Beis Hillel is saying, that there can be grounds for divorce with regards to other reasons besides for arayis, but it doesn't say o erva o davar. And to that Beis Hillel respond to Beis Hillel, and Beis Hillel respond to Beis Shammai lohachi ksiv ervas davar. It's for the following reason that it says ervas davar, the mashma hachi umashma hachi, because that actually implies both. Meaning to say, it implies that you can have grounds for divorce besides for arayis, but it also implies the idea that Beis Shammai say that if you're going to say that she's prohibited, that he's prohibited to have her as a wife, that can only be done with davar. It can only be done if you have edus berura, if you have clear testimony that there was arayis. And Rashi explains, Beis Hillel and Beis Hillel respond, Beis Hillel nami vadami boilu lahachi. Beis Hillel agree with what Beis Shammai is saying about having two witnesses, linyan lachufo lahotzi, meaning to say everyone agrees, even Beis Hillel agree, that if you're going to force him to divorce his wife, to lo kaifinan lei lahotzi ala be'edus brur, you're only going to force him to divorce if you have real edus. Beis Hillel agree with Beis Shammai on that. Miu lahachi ksiv ervas davar, velo ksiv erva bidavar. But the reason why it says ervas davar, and it doesn't say erva bidavar, velo ksiv nami o ervas o davar, and it doesn't say or erva or davar. Why does it specifically say this language of ervas davar? Ki hechi de lidershe betarvayu. That way you can darshan both. The mishtama erva o davar. First of all, it implies that she can be divorced. Grounds for divorce can be erva or another issue. Umashmanami erva bidavar, but it also implies erva bidavar. It implies that in order to force a divorce, there has to be clear testimony. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Rabbi Akiva Omer afilu motza acheres. Rabbi Akiva says, even if he finds a different girl that he wants to marry, that is reason that he can divorce her. But ma'ikam iflagi. And the Gemara says, what are they arguing about? What is this machlukas tanoim based on? And the Gemara says, bid Reish Lakish. They're arguing about what Reish Lakish said. The Yom Reish Lakish, because Reish Lakish said, ki mishamish bedalad l'shonos. The word ki, it can be used in four different manners. E can be used as if, dilma maybe, ella rather, or daha, or it can mean because. Beis Shammai Savri, Beis Shammai, they hold as follows. V'haya imlo simtza chen be'enov. The pasuk says that if she doesn't find favor in his eyes, ki motza bo ervas davar. It says ki motza bo ervas davar means daha motza bo ervas davar. She doesn't find favor in his eyes. Why? Because he found some kind of arayas. So Beis Shammai say there needs to be some kind of grounds for divorce that's based on arayas. Rabbi Akiva savar, but Rabbi Akiva holds ki motza bo ervas davar. What does it mean ki motza bo ervas davar? It means inami motza bo ervas davar, or he finds some kind of grounds for divorce. In other words, the pasuk means to say if she doesn't find favor in his eyes, or he finds some kind of issue of arayas, in all of the situations, according to Rabbi Akiva, that is grounds for divorce. Amalei Rav Papa l'Rava, Rav Papa says to Rava, lo motza bo lo erva v'lo davar mahu. According to Beis Hillel, what happens if he didn't find within her any erva or any davar? He didn't find any grounds for divorce, but he divorced her anyway. The question is, do we then force him to remarry her? Amar Lei said to him, Midagali Rachmana Gabe Ones, from the fact that the pasuk says by ones, by a case of rape, it says lo yuchal l'shalcha. It says that the person has to marry. If he rapes a girl, he has to marry that girl. He can never send her away. It says lo yuchal l'shalcha kol yamav. He can't send her away all of his days. Kol yamav ba'amod v'hachzer. We understand that to mean that all of his days, if he does try to send her away, he has to remarry her. We force her to take her back. We force him rather to take her back. Kol yamav ba'amod v'hachzer kol. All of his days, he has to take her back. Hasamu degali rachman. It sounds like only over there by the case of rape, the Torah says that. Avalacha, but over here, let's say he divorces her and he really had no grounds for divorce, but what's done is done. My David, what was done is done, and he doesn't have to take her back. Amar le Rav Misharshia l'Rava. Rav Misharshia said to Rava, Im libo legarsha. Let's say the husband intends to divorce his wife. V'hi yosheves tachtav u'mesham shasa. But right now she's still sitting with him. She's still serving him. Mahu. What's the halach in that case? Kari oleh. So he called about that such a situation. He referred to it with the following pasuk: Al tachrosh al reyacha roa v'u yoshev leveta achitcha. Don't devise evil plans against your friend when the person is sitting securely with you. Over here also, it's inappropriate that she should be together with the husband and she's serving the husband the entire time while the husband is planning to divorce her. And the Gemara continues, Tanya, we learned in a Braisa, Hayu Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Meir says, Keshem shahadeos b'maichel, just like there's different opinions when it comes to food, kach deos b'nashim, so too there are different opinions, or really temperaments, when it comes to women. Yesh lach adam shezavuv nofel l'soch koso v'zarko v'eno shoseyu. There are some people, a fly will fall into his cup, he'll throw it out, and he won't drink it, he'll throw out the whole thing. V'zui midas Papas ben Yehuda. That was the way of Papas ben Yehuda with his wife. Shoyan Noel b'fnei ishto v'yotze. If he would leave the house, he would lock the door in front of his wife. He wanted to make sure that his wife had no communication with any other men. That was an extreme. There are other people that if a fly falls into his cup, so the person will throw out the fly, he'll drink the rest. Vizui midas kol adam, that's the normal, that's the nature of a normal person. That the wife speaks with her brothers and her relatives. Umanichan, he allows that. That would be the temperament of a normal individual. And there are some individuals, the fly falls inside of their food, and they suck it up, they eat the fly as well. Zuhi midas adam ra, that is the temperament of a bad person. He sees his wife go out, she has her head uncovered, and she's spinning threads in the marketplace. She's acting in an immodest fashion, and he doesn't care. We will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Tzadi Amud Beis.